What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Austin Silver. This morning, Tuesday, August 27th at about 6:26 in the morning, as you can see in the top right corner, we are long GbpNzd. Now, I want to show you what I liked about the trade, what I didn't like about the trade, how much risk I put on this trade, and how I'm going to manage the trade going forward. As you can see right here, I'm up about 7 pips in the trade. Now, if we switch to TradingView, what I liked a lot was that when I backed myself down from the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, all of those time frames, all 3 of them were telling me that we were long bias today outside the 8 EMA. So what I would then do is come to the shorter time frame and try to find my confirmation. I was able to do that here at about 5:55 in the morning. Right here, you can see my entry price 1.9238. You can see my stop loss down here at that structure level low, and now we're looking to get at least about 1.7 R on this, so about 50 pips out of this. That would take me to max ADR today, how far it normally goes on an average day, and that's where I would look to take some profit off the table. As long as we can stay outside this 8 EMA, the yellow 8 EMA and the red 21 EMA, then I'm going to think that this should continue to move higher, at least until it taps ADR being maxed out, right? On top of that, the other thing that I liked about this trade was the support zone set here at about 530. So now that I know I have support down here at the bottom, I can use that to help gauge my risk reward, because understanding when to get in trades is difficult, but not too difficult to pick up as time goes on, especially once you have a system like mine. It's easy to understand when to get in and when to get out, but to identify proper risk reward sometimes can be tricky. So you want to make sure you understand how to identify support levels, where it shouldn't break if it's going to continue in your direction. So you can say, okay, for me, this is about 30 pips away. That means I want to get about 50 to 60 pips out of this trade to call it a really good trade. Now, because it's a little bit of a larger stop loss on the 30 pips right there, and because on the 15 minute, I did see, if I open up the TDI, you can see we hit overbought here on the 15 minute TDI. So because of that, and because of the fact that we were also overbought here on the 5 minute, that's what I was looking to say, 2 time frames overbought, I sized down a little bit into the trade. So I also grade my setups A, B, C. This to me would be either a B minus or a C setup. So not something I'm putting 3 or 4% on. This morning I'm only in at 1% risk with the 30 pip stop loss in. So because it's not a perfect setup, you just take smaller size. You still read the risk reward, you still act accordingly, you just size down so you don't lose as much if it's wrong. And you also don't make as much if it's right, but that doesn't matter. Winning good trades is what matters. So being able to grade it, build it into the plan, adjust appropriately, and then manage it well as time goes on here. Like I said, using the EMAs, using the TDI to manage, should I be getting out? Is it breaking levels? Is it overbought? Is it divergent? Using those things, you're gonna manage the trade properly. So it's just about 6:30 here. We're gonna head into the 6:30 candle, still up in the trade, and I will keep you guys posted as time goes on. All right, guys, it is about 7 o'clock. It's 6:53 to be exact. We are still in profit, just barely, but it's been moving sideways. Hasn't really moved higher yet this morning. It hasn't broken the 21 EMA, and that's kind of why I wanted to tap in right now and just check in with you guys, let you know what I'm thinking. So on the 5 minute here, of course, this isn't a super heavy time frame because it's a shorter time frame, but because we entered here and because I do find a lot of confidence in my system with the 5 minute strategy, I like to watch the 5 minute to manage a lot of my trades, especially day trades like this one. I'm not looking to swing trade this because we know that it's already hit overbought on the higher time frames. It's already pushing it towards its max ADR for the day, so I'm probably not swing trading this. This is a day trade, so I'm trying to get out of it before the end of the session here, right? So I'm watching the 5 minute to see if it gives us some exit signals. Now, first, you can see the TDI is starting to fall. RSI is starting to come a little bit lower, which might throw a few flags in there. But more importantly, what I'm going to wait for is a break of the 21 EMA, which is that red trend line right here. You see that going all the way back through the candles? That's the 21 EMA. It's a strong EMA as far as shorter term EMAs go. It's not like the 50 or the 800 or the 200, but it's still fairly strong on the shorter time frame. So my rule for exit, and this is important, so take this down if you want a little secret, and I teach this in the course, it's called the 21 EMA rule. What that means is if it breaks the 21 EMA with 1 candle, and if it's a strong enough bar, like a large bar breaking that 21, I'll take the trade out. I'll close the trade as that's an exit signal. The trend is changing. However, if it just pulls back to the 21 as it's doing here, and maybe even breaks with just 1 candle or even 2 candles, I'm not exiting the trade. I like to give them a little bit more time than that because the market moves in waves. It never just goes straight up in one direction. So you have to give it time to breathe. And using the EMAs as your barriers will actually keep you in the trades that you should stay in. So that's why for the 21 EMA, what I'm waiting for here, if it breaks to the downside with 1, 2 candles, I'll take the loss. I'll pull it out at 10 pips so I don't lose 30, I don't lose the full 1%, right? But by doing this, I give it the opportunity to go higher. I give myself the opportunity to stay in the trade if it's still going to move higher. So I'm not out of the trade yet, down about 3 pips or so right here. We're going to give it some more time, and I will check back in a few minutes with you. All right, guys, it's 7:07, so just a few minutes into the 7 o'clock hour here. I am just at about break even. You can see down not even full half a pip yet, so just sitting at break even. But if we take a look at the 5-minute, it did exactly what I was hoping it would do. Retest the 21, not break it. You can see it put 2 pins through it, not break it, hold it, and now maybe continuing higher off of it. So I'm not getting out of the trade yet. I'm not getting too excited yet, but the pullback to the 21, the hold of the 21 tells me that there's still support here, tells me that we could still see a move higher. If we go back to the initial push up here at about 3 a.m. and use that pin to create ourselves a zone, you can see that's why we've been moving sideways. We're trapped in the top end of this range since the push up at 3 a.m. We pushed up overnight in the beginning of the London session, consolidated sideways now as we're headed into the New York session, and hopefully in the next hour or so as we head towards 8 o'clock when New York officially opens, then we can see this thing really start to kick up even higher. If we can get above this zone, get above 192.43 and hold again, I'm going to feel even more confident that we're going to move higher. So let's leave these zones on here. Let me just extend this all the way across for us so we can keep an eye on this, and then we will check back in a few minutes as the trade continues. But we're holding the 21, holding the structure, looking like we're about to push back outside the 8 EMA. So I'll check back in with you guys as the trade develops. Excuse me. All right, everybody, so it is now 7:30, almost 7:31. You can see I'm up 13 pips in the trade here on the MetaTrader 4. So if we switch over, look at the breakout here. You see the RSI was falling, price action was rising, creating that divergence, but what happened? RSI broke to the upside. That tells us that price action should also break to the upside. So now that we've broken, of course, it could come back down and retest that trend line, this white trend line, the divergence line, but I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting more movement to the upside here because the RSI broke out. Now price action is broken out as well. So both confirmations telling me that we should move higher here. Like I said to you before as well, looking at the 15-minute time frame, we cleared for a new high of day, still holding outside the 8 EMA. That tells me we have space to move higher. So using the 5-minute to identify that divergence, watching to see, does it break? Do I need to get out? No, it held the EMAs, it held structure, and now it's continuing to make higher highs. This is the kind of trade you want to be involved in. This is how you manage it properly. So now that we've created the divergence and broken it, if we do break back down to the downside and start breaking EMAs back down into this level, that's when I'll say, okay, the divergence is still kicking in and we might need to move off the trade. But like I said, I know I keep saying that, but like I said, because we're breaking out, because we're holding that market structure, you want to read and react to what the market is telling you. Not try to forecast, oh, it's at the top, get out now. No, relax. Trust your analysis, trust your trades, trust your system. And if you don't have one, you should be working with us because I can show you how to do this too. So it's 7:32. I will pop back on in a few minutes and show you guys how the trade continues to develop. All right, guys, it is 8:15. I'm up 17 pips here on the trade. Things look good. We're pushing off for another new high of day, off the 21 EMA here on the 5-minute. Again, I just want to kind of recap with you what I think has happened so far. So we liked the breakout this morning, but as we got closer to 8 o'clock, it did start to slow down. It started to get a little choppy. It was up 10 pips, up 2 pips, up 10 pips, up 3 pips. Very choppy as we went into 8 o'clock. The reason for that was probably this medium impact GBP news right here, that orange folder. It didn't shake us out of the trade, but it did cause a pretty nasty pullback here past our entry price actually to the 50 EMA on the 5-minute. But now that that news is in, you can see the trade is ripping here. Now all the way up to 192.65, 192.67. Look at this thing, I'm up 24 pips. So I'm going to switch over to my phone here and look to see if I can take a little bit of this thing off as we're getting closer here. So let me close a little bit. Right there. Cool. So I just locked some in there at 25. Let me message the guys. Here, look, I'll show you. Just sent them a message here in the VIP chat. Just closing half the trade here. And now we'll let it sit. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? Since I closed half, follow the plan, move the stop loss right into profit like that. Now I can't lose any money on this trade. You can see ADR is pretty close to maxed out now at 94%. We've moved 184 today. ADR is 194, so maybe another 10 or so off that. You know what? Let me take a little bit more off here. Getting some push after the news, that's good. Let me send them another message. So I'm telling them I have 25% of my original position still on. Stop loss in profit. Cool. Awesome. So I was in at 192.39, out at 192.63 and 59. So a really, really nice trade here so far, guys. So I will leave it be from here. Probably gonna see if we can get a little bit more push, but if we start to break down, I'll close it. I won't even let it stop me out in profit there. I'm up 16 right now. A nice trade, 8:15 in the morning, easy. All right, guys, it is 9:31. I just want to recap the entire GbpNzd trade with you right here. So as you can see, it moved much higher in the direction that we thought it would, but much higher than I thought it could reach. It maxed out its ADR way past what it normally has been doing over the last 5 days. So for me, the reason we got out of our trade, right, for most of the position was because we were reaching divergence, we were maxing out ADR, and we want to lock those winners. We want to win more than we're losing. That's what leads to consistent profitability over the long term. So what I did then, if you remember, was I locked the stop loss in profit. So as it pulled back here around 9 o'clock, a little bit before that, it actually stopped me out in profit on that remaining 25% of my original position. So take the full winner, I'll show you the P&L right here, and then we move on. It's fine. What I want you to take from this trade when we see moves like this after the fact, no FOMO. Don't worry about this move. That move isn't a part of your plan. Now, if you got a re-entry signal and you take that and you manage that as a different trade, that's fine. But you can't just go jumping back into trades when you have reasons for why you got out of the first trade in the beginning, from the first place, right? So for me, I'm very happy with the win. I'm confident in myself, happy with myself for following my plan, right? Moving the stop loss as I needed to, locking the winner, and then just moving on to the next trade. But again, a lot of money on the table here for this GbpNzd trade. A lot of the GBP pairs got kicked up, but you can't worry about it. So I'm happy, move on to the next trade, and I'll see you guys in the next trade recap.